Good morning from Melbourne, Australia. Good evening to friends in North America, and hello to anyone watching on replay. My name is Nancy Hetker, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Melbourne, Australia. And today I want to start by reminding you that we are well into the celebration and new January to April mini catalog sales period. Lots of great things available in both of these. With a $90 minimum purchase, you can choose from one of many awesome free items in this catalog. And yeah, there's all kinds of great things to purchase from both this catalog and our annual catalog that runs to the end of April, both of them. Today, I am going to be, up here at the front here, I am going to be using the punch that comes as part of this Country Bouquet bundle. And I'm going to be using the hearts, these two hearts, cut out of that punch. And I am going to start by getting that out of the way. And we're going to make a piece of distressed cardstock, and I'm going to bring in a piece of grid paper that I've already done one. I'm going to show you what we're going to make. Please say hello when you join me, because I like to know who is here, and if you're watching on replay, I'd love to know that you joined us either on YouTube or Facebook. So I'm going to make another piece of cardstock that looks like this. Hello, Gladys. Thanks for joining me today. Yeah, so I'm going to take this piece and make it look like this piece. So here's how we do that. I've got Melon Mambo, Calypso Coral, and Daffodil Delight ink pads, and some blending brushes. And I do get asked this, do I have a brush for every color? No, I have a brush for kind of every color tone. So this is my brush for yellows, and I use it with Crushed Curry and Daffodil Delight and So Saffron. And I don't wash it or rinse it each time, but I do go on my grid paper and try to brush out most of the color so that it doesn't transfer the next time. And then it's usually dries in between and what have you. I don't have a lot of trouble with strong colors. So this one is going to be kind of coral oranges, and this one is for the very bright pinks. So it doesn't really matter which one I start with. I'm just going to swirl on blotches of color, and I usually talk about starting off the page so you don't get big blobs of color. On this, it really doesn't matter because we're going to be swirling so much on and doing so many things to it, and then punching out, that variation in blotchiness is not an issue at all. So, like I said, I'm just going, and I like the colors to swirl together a bit. So that's how that goes. And I won't do a whole lot of this probably, but just enough to give you an idea of all the steps. Although I may go ahead and swirl all this on. Like I said, if you're here, please do say hello so I can say hello back. And I may go ahead and add a little yellow right in the middle there. You can see how that blends together, makes it more orangey, and that's totally cool. Some more yellow down here. More yellow in there. Hello, Worgy. How are you today? And what else? Oh, yeah, I guess a little more Calypso coral down here. I'm going to turn that around, actually. Come in here with a little more yellow there. Yep, I'm gonna call it quits there for now. Just close up my ink pads. And let's see, the next step is to take my water painter, and this has a barrel here that's full of water and a brush tip, and you just squeeze it and you can get it pretty wet. And I'm just gonna flick some water, and I'm gonna drop some bigger drops. You wanna just kind of have your space clear so you don't mind that things are getting sprayed accidentally. And some people take the lid and flick that way too. I like to bang it against my finger. I don't know, I just feel maybe a little more in control that way. And then I'm gonna bring in my heat tool and dry this a little bit. Kind of blows that around. That's kind of fun too. I don't have a lot of speckles on there. I might have to add some more. But I'm also going to bring my aqua painter back in, and I've got some white craft ink, and I've just dropped it on the block, and I've added some water. Add a little more here just for fun. And now we're gonna add some whiter speckles on there. And again, I like to just bang the brush against my finger. Some people flick by hand, some people use the lid. This is my preferred way. And you can see there's a difference between the ones with the white ink and the ones that are just water. I'm going to try to rinse out my brush a little more and get a little more that are just watery. I've got a little paper towel here to clean my brush a bit. Hello, thanks for joining me today. See how that is a little cleaner. Do a little more just water type speckles. This can make a right mess, which if it bothers you, probably isn't the technique for you, but I don't mind. It's a contained mess. And the effect is so cool. Okay, let me set that aside. See about drying it again. See what we've got. You don't have to use a heat tool to dry it. You can just set it aside for a couple hours, but I don't have time for that on the live, so we're doing the heat tool. Okay, that gives you an idea of what we've got. I'm going to bring in the one that I did earlier. I'm going to get rid of that messy page. This is the one I did earlier because I know this one's totally dry. And I'll lose my cap there. I'm going to go ahead and what we're going to do, this punch, you can see it cuts the two different hearts and it cuts the leaves, but I just want the hearts. So I'm actually going to cut this into a couple of strips to minimize the amount that I lose to those extra leaves. So I'm going to do that to start with. That's 4 centimeters, which I think should be right. Come here. Yeah. So I can get so I've got minimal waste here, as opposed to if I just went in like that. You see how I get that cut there? I don't really want the leaves, so I'm going to cut this down again. And I'm sure you could be all scientific about your maths and how best to size your initial piece of paper and everything, but that's just too much. So okay. So I think that's going to be enough for the design I have. And I'll be totally upfront here. I am casing a card by one of our artisan design team members. Her name is Tammy Wilson. And I saw this card she posted online yesterday, and I thought that's really cool. Let's make that. So I've gone ahead and I've got a piece of basic white that I've embossed with the bricks and mortar embossing folder, and she did it on an angle, and so I did too. And that's going to go on there. I can unclog my glue. There we go. Ugh. Got a little oozing out there. Have to clean that up. Now, that is going to go up in that corner in one way or another. And then I'm going to start laying out the hearts. We'll see if I wind up feeling like the colors particularly matter. So What are you talking about, Nancy? Of course the colors matter. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, like that one better? See, I can come back in here with this strip and make a few more strategic ones if I want. A little less matchy-matchy, maybe. What do you think? Now just sort of mess with the positioning a little bit. This is a part where you can go forever, right? But once I have it how I like it, I'm going to use my cling, what is it, press and seal trick. Don't want that quite so. Okay, so I think I like that. I'm looking. Yeah, the sweet. I'm not a huge fan of country stuff, Orgy, and so I did think long and hard about it, but I thought there were enough things that you could do that weren't too sickly country that made it worth it. Okay, so I am happy with that. So this is Press and Seal. I've mentioned it before. It is a plastic wrap. It's made by Glad. Here in Australia, you can get it at Costco, at least sometimes, and you can get it through some specialty scrapbooking type online stores. In the US, you can get it at just about any grocery store. But it's just regular cling wrap that on one side has adhesive, kind of like Post-it notes. And I find it fantastic when I've got a layout of punches or die cuts just the way I like it. I press it on. I find it easiest to turn over and lift off the base. And now I have everything exactly where I like it, and I can put my adhesive on. And today, of course, that's going to be dimensionals. Let me find some of my bigger ones. Hello. There we go. So. And the cool thing about this, as you know, once I take off the backings and turn it over, I can line it up exactly where I want it and press it down, and they will all be in the same place if it's working right. I think that's all it needs. So if you have trouble pulling up your dimensional backings, one thing that I like to tell people is take one of your nails and push down in the center of the backing, and it'll pop up at the edges and makes it really easy to lift off. I don't tend to have a lot of trouble, but I also don't cut my nails back all the way to the quick. I know a lot of people like to use the pokey part of their take your pick tool. I find that sometimes to be hit or miss for me. Okay, so there's my card. I've got that pretty straight. This is all on an angle, and I want to be able to see that I have it all positioned where I want it. Good. And I'm going to push these down. This one, I'm not so happy with that angle in the end, so I haven't pushed that one down. I'm going to pull that out and place it again later. But I like those. And this one, I am going to have much more straight because that just works better for me. And then I didn't pull my embellishments. These are the iridescent pastel gems. Come here. And they are supposed to be Calypso Coral, Balmy Blue, and Gold. So I'm going to use some of these Calypso Coral ones because they're going to be just right on there. And I take my take your pick tool. And I'm not pressing these down yet. I'm getting my positioning right, and then we'll go from there. I'm using a bunch of these because she did, and I thought it was a nice look. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So with the press and seal, before you use it, a piece the first time, well, first of all, I cut off a length and then I cut it in half because I find that's, you know, it's bigger than a card front, and that's what it's easy to use. If you have the double length of it, it gets to be too much to deal with. And I take it and I press it against my jeans or my shirt a couple times to pick up a little bit of lint so it's not quite so sticky. And again, I think that's better. And again, my tip for putting on embellishments is put them down gently and then come back later and press with the cap of your take your pick tool. It saves your fingertips from getting sore, and that way you still can move them around. So there's that card. I hope you like that. It went quickly because I had some of it done already, but you saw it didn't take long to make this piece. Yeah, I may go back and add a few more speckles especially the water ones. I like the water ones. I think this one had more than that one does, but that's easy to add. You can do that at any time. And I'll probably make another one of these cards, or two, because I've got paper left, plus this one. I might be able to get another 2 out, maybe with different sentiments. Oh, I'll show you what I use for the sentiments. This is the Charming Sentiments set, and it's got coordinating dies that cut them out, like you fussy cut each one. And I just went ahead and stamped that in Versamark and did gold heat embossing on it before I came on camera. And this is Lisa Curcio's $1 million, $1 million we call it, but it's million in sales stamp set. When demonstrators reach 1 million in sales, they get to have input on designing a stamp set with Stampin' Up! That reflects their interests, style, etc. And that's what Lisa Curcio did. She wanted to have some great sentiments. So there we go. That's what I have for you today. I will be back same time, same place next week with another project. Details on this will be on my blog starting later today or tomorrow. And I thank you for joining me. See you next time. Bye-bye.